Welcome to United Worldwide. My name is Craig Frost, and I'm doing a new YouTube channel. Subscribe, why not? Be the early bird. I'm a decent person who understands football. If you love listening to content about Manchester United, why not subscribe? Maybe you find my channel interesting, and you could be one of the, you know, early people. You always wanted to be one of the early people. You can be it. So subscribe. Be a good bloke or lady. Okay, so I'm not going to talk a lot about myself because that's boring. I just wanted to talk about statistically the difference between Raphael Varane and Victor Lindelöf. So we can have a comparison of who is subbing Lindelöf, Varane, and what he brings to the team. And I think you'd be pretty impressed. So the first thing is obvious and clear is the height. The height is of Varane is 6'4" in feet versus 6'1" in Lindelöf. So from an area point of view, that's going to be tremendous. And if we want to go quickly to the bottom here, then we're going to compare aerial percentage of aerial one. You've got Lindelöf, who's got 74.4% of aerial one, and versus Lindelöf, which is 65. Now, if you want to say it's a small margin, that's very erroneous to do so, because when you're doing this statistics over a whole year, the smallest amount is of great importance into one particular game. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. All right, so the other thing that I think that will be of encouragement to United fans of what we're getting is actually not the defensive capabilities, but more the attack, the ability to move the ball forward in transitional play or possessional play. And I wanted to go quickly to this particular statistics, which is possession. Now, once again, keep in mind that the difference between one game and a whole season divided up in 90 minutes, each digital numerical representation is massive. Okay, so first thing I wanted to go over is actually the ability to take on players, so to open up spaces. So when you're playing possession football, the other team set up in a way where it's difficult to pass the ball forward. So in order to do that, you have to be able to take on a player to open up other spaces, and then other players have to come forward to fill that void, and then spaces open up for creativity. And if you want to look at from that aspect of the game, Lindelöf is far inferior to Varane. And give you an example of that is the dribble aspect. So dribble completed for Lindelöf is 0.07 per 90 minutes versus 0.20 per 90 minutes of Varane. Varane is twice as good at dribble completed, better than twice as good at dribble completed. His double would be 14 or 0.14. Dribbles attempted is 0.32 versus 14. Once again, double as good. Success rate of dribble is 61.5% versus 50. So even though he attempts more, he has a higher chance of dribbling being success. Players pass 0.25 or quarter versus 0.07 again. So once again, the ability to pass play is an essential element to a player's game, especially when it's coming from the back to open up midfield. We see it time and time again where Lindelöf passes to Fred and Fred passes back to Lindelöf and then Lindelöf passes to Maguire. We get this Van Gaal style of football, safe passes back and forth, which open up the game. It looks stale, it looks boring, it looks unattractive. We have to have the ability to move forward. So that's the first. Put the volume down on that. That's the first element to how Varane essentially takes Manchester to the next level. In that this transitional play, he's able to take on players and pass, but on possessional play, is also equally important. And also the other thing that I wanted to go over was where they're touching the ball, and in the midfield we play pretty high up, and so we do a lot of safe passing. As we know, Varane doesn't do as much safe passing. He does the correct pass, which is passing forward. So let's have a look at passes forward, and I think that will be interesting. Not only interesting, essential in order to gauge what type of player we got. Its pass completion long is 82.6 for Varane, which I'm telling you, each percentage is massive as far as displaying in a 90-minute game versus a whole year divided up into 90 versus 72. Now, we do know that Lindelöf is probably a decent passer. He's not a decent defender, decent passer. And then passes attempted and passes completed. You got 12 per game, and then you got 6 per game. I mean, he pass completing long passes. He does double what Lindelöf does. This is going to massively improve penetrating the central part of the midfield from defense, and then we can also do the same thing. The long passes is more important because the medium pass is more the passing to Fred and Fred passing back, so it's hard to gauge that statistic correctly. Obviously, we need players a central defender who can take the ball off the defense and then pass it to a creative player. So we used to have this with Carrick or Fletcher when Ferdinand or Vidic would pass to Carrick or Fletcher, and his only job is to get to Scholes, then he can get creative. It's got to be within the attacker third, within 3 passes is key for a quick transitional play. But if you're playing possession football, these statistics, Varane really demonstrates that he potentially could be a more a threat actually than you could get from a midfield, because our weakness is transition from defense to midfield. That is our biggest weakness. I think he patches that up quite nicely, and I think we will potentially have a massive season. Do I think we're going to win the league? Let's see. But I definitely think we're going to start hitting the mid-80s as far as point-wise, which I think is enough to come second, depending how good Sancho does. But I think if we tighten up the defense, do a better possession football, which more penetrating, I think we might have an interesting season on hand. Anyway, like I said, subscribe. I'm a new YouTube creator. I do this because I talk football no matter what. If you like listening to football, hear interesting facts, you know, have data that you would not otherwise have, why not subscribe? Plus, if you don't like me, you can unsubscribe later. Okay, I'm going to make videos each day, maybe a couple videos a day. Like this video so at least other people can say, be a good chap. Alright, that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm still, like I said, getting used to it. I will get better over time. You know how it is. It's awkward talking to a camera, but I'm getting pretty decent at it, I think. So, see you in the next video.